Good morning, friends. Welcome to the YouTube channel of Ashok Vidyalaya and Junior College. I am Sushant Deshpande. In this session, we are going to see the introduction to microprocessor and the concept of microprocessor. Before we go into deep of microprocessor, as we are familiar with a computer, let's see what is a block diagram of computer. Computer consists of the following blocks. One is input, second is output, third is CPU. Now in CPU, there are two parts. One is ALU, arithmetic logical unit, and memory. So when we see a computer, computer consists of these parts. Input devices gives input to the CPU. Output devices takes output from the CPU. ALU, arithmetic logical unit, performs the processing and arithmetic and logical operations, and memory is used to store the information. This memory is of two types. One is permanent memory and second is dynamic memory, or it's a programming memory and it's a data memory. When we say, or it is also called as ROM and RAM. As name indicates, it's a read-only memory. We cannot store or we cannot write anything in this part of the memory. And this is RAM, random access memory. We can store our information in this memory. We can read as well as we can write. In ROM, we can only read, hence the name read-only memory. Here we can read as well as write, hence it is called as random access memory. The information, the instructions stored in ROM is a permanent, but whatever we store in RAM remains there only till computer is on. Now, if you see this particular block diagram, let me share this. Input device, CPU, control and arithmetic unit, output device, and memory. This is a computer. But what we are going to study is this part of computer. That is, if you see the microcomputer consists of input device, output device, CPU, and memory. And microprocessor is one part of microcomputer or microcomputer organization. So what we have to study? We have to study this part in detail. We have to go into detail about this particular functioning, this particular part and its functions and its architecture in detail. So we are going deep into from microcomputer to microprocessor. Microprocessor is one of the part of microcomputer organization. Now, when we say a microprocessor, how this microprocessor's architecture is. Before that, when we say microprocessor, we have to understand what is the function of microprocessor. If I ask you that if there is a fan, give me the answer by thinking for 2 minutes. Does fan require programming? What do you think? Does fan require any program? If suppose we take a switch which is used to make on or off light, does it require a program? Does it require a program? If you say a remote control, does it require a program? What do you think? If I give the example that this is a traffic signal and it works like this, first is red signal, then wait for some time, then yellow, wait for some time, then green. What do you think? Does it require programming? Think of a while and give me the answer. Yes, friends. What is your answer? The answer is right. Fan will not require programming. Switch doesn't require programming, but remote control requires programming. This traffic signal requires programming because first the red signal should on, then there should be some delay for some seconds, then yellow should on, then again there will be some delay, then green should on. When red is on, yellow and green should be off. When yellow is on, red and green should be off. When green is on, red and yellow should be off. So it requires a programming. So wherever the programming is required, microprocessor is must. Because what is the function of microprocessor? The function of microprocessor is to execute the program. Microprocessor executes the program. Microprocessor doesn't store any program. Microprocessor executes the program. The function of microprocessor is to execute the program. Come on, repeat again. The function of microprocessor is to execute the program. Microprocessor doesn't store any information or instruction. Then who stores? So there is another part which stores data or information, which is called as memory. So memory is used to store the information. Information means what? Two parts. One is data and second is instruction. So data and instruction is the information which is stored in the memory. But now it is stored in memory. Then who will read it? That will be done by microprocessor. So microprocessor executes the program by reading the instruction from the memory, or it stores the information, or it stores the data into the memory. So there are two parts. One is when the information is taken from memory to microprocessor, it is read cycle. And when the information is given from microprocessor to the memory, it is write cycle. So there has to be a signal to be given. There has to be a cable. There has to be some media through which this particular transaction will happen. So when we say that data is moved from memory to microprocessor, how it will move? Will it move in air? Will it move without medium? No. There must be the signals. The signals should be transferred. That signals will transfer on a wire. So a set of wire by which this data gets transferred is called as bus. And there are total three bus. One is address bus. Second is data bus. And third is control bus. Bus is what? Set of wires. So that set of wires which is used to transfer data is data bus. The set of wires is used which is used to transfer address is address bus. And we must know, we must indicate that what microprocessor wants to do, whether it is read or whether it is write function. So that will be decided by control bus. With control bus, it is given that whether read operation should be performed or write operation should be performed. Right, friends? Clear? Very good. Let's move ahead. Based on this particular concept, let's move ahead that what is bit and what is byte. Because now in our assembly language, we always use these words. So if you see our number system, it's a decimal number system. Deci means 0 to 9. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 9. How many numbers are there? 10. Therefore, it is called as decimal number system. But machine understands which language? Binary number system. Pi means what? 2. So the number system which has only two numbers is called as binary number system. So this binary number system contains only two digits, 0 or 1. So any number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, any number, even if we give in our language, it gets converted into the low level language, that is binary language, that is in the form of 0 and 1. So a digit in the binary number system is at 1 or 0. Therefore, this is called as bit. The long form of bit is binary digit. The long form of bit is binary digit. Correct? And such bits, if you group together, then it is called as a byte. So such 8 bits, if you group together, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1 represents 1. This is called as bit. And this 8 digits, that is 8 bits, is called as 1 byte. So when we see the memory, memory is used to store the data or instruction. Now microprocessor reads the data or stores the data in the memory. Now how microprocessor will know that which data or which instruction should be taken for execution? So there has to be a address. There has to be a address of a particular memory location. This particular address is of 16 bits. Address is of 16 bits. But the data which can be stored in this memory location is of 8 bits. The width is of 8 bits. But the address of that memory location in which 8-bit data is stored is of 16 bits. So when we say 16 bits in assembly language program, we write the numbers in hexadecimal. So if you write 01H, what is the binary presentation of 01H? 4 digits for this number, 4 digits for this number. What is the binary presentation of 00? 0000. What is the binary presentation of 1? 0001. So if you combine this, this becomes 8-bit data, that is 00000001. So whenever you see 2 digits with H, the length of that number will be 8 bits. And whenever you see, say, D000H, how many bits are there? These first 2 bits will be 8 bits. And this second 2 bits will be 8 bits. So it will be 16 bits. So the location where the data is stored, that is the address. For example, suppose if you want to go somewhere, will you start from home and will you directly go at a particular location? No, because you must know first where to go. That is, you must know the address. Suppose you want to send a letter. Will you write a letter and only send to the post office? No. So for that, what is required? Address is required. Similarly, for microprocessor, to read the data or to write the data, what is required is an address. Once you know the address, then you take the content from that particular address or you send the data or content to that particular memory location or address. So for memory location, every memory location, there is an address. That address is of 16-bit. And the data which is stored in this memory location will be only of 8 bits. So even if instruction is stored, it will be stored in the form of 8 bits. If data is stored, it will be stored in form of 8 bits only. There, please remember, even if it is a data or even if it is an instruction, both are stored in form of binary numbers, binary digits. And what is the maximum width of 8085? For storing of a data is of 8 bits. So even if it is an instruction or even if it is an data, it will be in one memory location. How many bits will be stored? 8 bits or 1 byte. Understood? Very good. This is a very important concept. Should we move ahead? Okay. So now what we have seen that we require two things. First, whenever we read or write, we means who? Microprocessor. Whenever microprocessor wants to execute the program is in memory, and that particular program is stored in different memory locations. So we required first the address of memory location. Once you know the address of memory location, then we can read the data or we can store the data. So we require a data. And third, we have to give the instruction, the signal that what function to be executed by microprocessor. It will be read or it will be write. Then who will carry this information? Will it come directly from memory to microprocessor without any connection? Do you think that it comes from the air? Obviously not. So there has to be a medium between these two. And this medium is nothing but the set of lines. Every bit will carry on one signal, one wire. So if we want a data to be taken from this memory location, how the data is stored? Suppose we say that in this memory location, 1 is stored. Even if we write it is stored at 01H, even if we write it, actually it will be stored as 8 bits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it will be stored at 00000001. So when we say that read 01, the whole bunch of these 8 bits should be taken simultaneously. So how many wires will be required here? 8 wires. And that particular group of wires is called as bus. Is called as bus. So if we want to read data, maximum width of data is 8 bits. Therefore, bus will be of how many cables? 8 cables. Therefore, bus is of how many? What is the width? 8-bit width. But what is the address? Address of memory location is of 16 bits. So it will be like D001H. So how many bits are there? 16 bits are there. Therefore, to carry such address, how many wires are required? Right, 16 wires are required because 16 bits are there. So address bus is of 16 bits. This is the characteristic of 8085. Address bus is of 16 bit. Data bus is of 8 bit. And the third bus required is a control. Control means to indicate which function is to be used, whether it is a read or whether it is a write function. Clear, boy? Friends, I hope that the concepts are getting clear to you. Very good. Now, if you see and move ahead, this is a chip. So if you open a CPU, you will get the top view of the chip of microprocessor is like this. What are the features or characteristics of microprocessor 8085? As we have discussed, it is a 8-bit microprocessor. What do you mean by 8-bit microprocessor? When we say 8-bit microprocessor, it means that the microprocessor has a capacity to transfer, that is to read or write 8 bits at a time. 8 bits at a time. That is, how many bits microprocessor can read at a time will depend on a size of data bus. So if data bus is of 4 bits, then what is the maximum width or what is the maximum bits that particular microprocessor can carry at a time? 4 bits. So it is called, it will be called as 4-bit microprocessor. But with this, what will happen? That if suppose we want to read 8 bits, then there will be 2 cycles to be executed by microprocessor. With this, it will increase the time and speed will be reduced. What is the solution for this? Obviously, the solution is increase this Y. Sorry. So when it is increased 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, now instead of 2 cycles to read 1 byte, 8 bits will be read in 1 cycle. So with this, what will happen? The reading cycles will be reduced and the time will be increased. So when we say 8-bit microprocessor, it gives the maximum number of bits that can be taken for read or write by a microprocessor at a time. This is also called as a word. Okay, good. So what are the features? It is 8-bit microprocessor. So when we say 8-bit microprocessor, what will be the data bus of 8085? Yes, 8 bits, because the 8 bits will be transferred on data bus at a time. Second feature is 8085 chip is available in 40-pin plastic ceramic package. Total, how many pins are there? 40 pins are there. The data bus is 8-bit. It carries 8 bits or 1 byte at a time. The address bus is of 16 bits. The address bus is divided into 2 groups. So now when we see that the address and data bus, it is called as multiplexing. So when we say multiplexing, multiplexing is what? Many into one. So here, as we have seen, that if we want to increase the speed, the data lines should be increased. But as the data lines are increased, the wires gets increased, it will increase the cost and it will also require more space. So can we have the same lines used for 2 different functions? That is called as multiplexing. So what is done is we have address bus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Total is 0 to 15. That is 16. Correct? Now, out of this, if suppose D0 to D7 is used for both address as well as data. When data is to be given between microprocessor and memory, it will be at the AD0 to AD7. And when the address is given, it will be also A0 to A7 and A8 to A15. So when it is a 16-bit address, it will be from AD0 to AD15. And when it is a data, it will be on A0, that is called as address data 0, address data 7. So if there are, these are the 16 lines, then this will be A0 to A7, then A8 to A15, total 16. These 8 lines are used for both the least significant bits, 8 bits of address as well as data. Therefore, it is called as AD0 to AD7. And these are used for a most significant bits of address A8 to A15. This is called as multiplexing. That is many into one. Right? I hope you must have understood this. Okay, so these are the features of microprocessor. You can go and you can read it. Now, let's move ahead and see in detail the architecture of microprocessor. This is called as architecture of microprocessor. Let's look at it I will give you 1 or 2 seconds. Let's observe this particular diagram, and then I will discuss about the architecture of microprocessor. Done? Good. Now let's observe and see this architecture. It's very easy. Try to draw this particular diagram with the functionality. See how. First of all, what is required to execute a program? Where the program will be stored? In a memory. So when we say we want something from the memory, first of all, microprocessor must understand the address of that memory location. So where that address will be stored, there must be something in microprocessor which stores the address of memory location from where the execution of instruction should be started. That particular part is called as program counter. It is called as register. It is a set of flip-flop which is used to store the information during execution in the microprocessor. So the memory location or the address of instruction to be executed next will be stored in the program counter. So program counter will be of how many bits? What is being stored in the program counter? A data or an address? Yes, address. Address is of how many bits? 16 bits. So what will be the size of this program counter? 16 bits, obviously, so simple. So when you say starting of the architecture of architecture diagram of microprocessor, always start with the program counter. Okay, so I will draw here a program. See, I am drawing now microprocessor. Memory is outside microprocessor. So microprocessor must understand from where the program should start. So first register required is program counter. Then there are different other registers which are used to store the data by us in a microprocessor. These registers are B, C, D, E, H, L. They are called as general purpose registers. They are used to store the data by the program. We can store the data during our program and we can use these registers. So how many registers are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Correct? And this accumulator is the 7th one. So these 7 8-bit general purpose registers are there. So what to write? So next, how to write here? General purpose registers. So it is B, C, D, E, and H, L. You have to write like this only because these registers are used in the pair like this only, not BE, not DC. It will be B, C, D, E, and H, L. After that, what is required? The stack pointer. The stack pointer is also used for the branching, for the controlling. So there is another register which is used for a stack pointer. Now this will be also of 16-bit because it stores the address. Program counter should be also of 16-bit. But in B, C, D, E, H, L, what we are going to store? A data. Now, what is the maximum width of data that can be stored in a memory location, whether it is address or whether it is data? It is 8-bit. So what will be the size of these registers? Yes, they will be of 8 bits. Here we are storing address, so they will be of 16 bits. Now, once the instruction starts executing, microprocessor must understand which instruction to be executed next. So this particular address should be increased or decreased by 1. So there is another register which is called as increment or decrement. There is another register which is called as increment or decrement. Is this block clear? Correct. So now when we start executing the program, the first instruction will be loaded on the program counter, in the program counter. That particular 16-bit address will come to this address buffer and a data buffer, that is address bus. Address bus is of 16 bits. So AD0 to AD7 and A8 to A15. Program counter contains 16-bit memory address that will come here. From this, it will go to the memory. Then it will read the data, that is instruction, and it will be again come to address bus. Now, when we say address bus, where it will come? It will come to the last or the least significant bits, AD0 to AD7. From AD0 to AD7, from this internal bus, it will go to instruction register. At instruction register, it will wait for some time, temporary. Then it will go to the instruction decoder. Because microprocessor doesn't understand, microprocessor understands binary code. Therefore, the instruction needs to be decoded. Decoded means not translate. Decoded means the meaning of that particular opcode is stored in the microprocessor. That 00000011 means what? Add. 00110010 means what? Subtract. That is called as a decoding. It's not the translation of the word add into binary. It is already there because data instruction is already stored in the form of binary. Once this decoding is done, it is given to the time and controller, and time and controller will send the signal to all the circuits for execution of the program. So when we say reading of the instruction, it is of 3 phases. First is fetch the instruction, that is bring the instruction from memory to microprocessor, then decode it and then execute it. Once this signal is given by time and control, the ALU operation, arithmetic logical operations, will be executed. According to the result of arithmetic logical operation, the unit will set the flags. Now, there is one important register which is called as accumulator. Accumulator is 8-bit register used to store the data, or also used to store the result. Therefore, it is a special general purpose register. So let's see. Now this will become very simple for you. So after this block, what we have to write? Where the data will come? Data will come to instruction register. From instruction register, where it will go to the instruction decoder. For instruction, after instruction decoder, where it will go to the time and control. Then time and control will do what? Time and control will send the requests, will send the signals, and then accumulator, temporary register, flag, and arithmetic logical unit will get executed. So if you draw like this, program counter, then registers, then from where the data will come, the instruction will come, where it will restore instruction register, then to a decoder, then timing control, then there will be arithmetic unit. The input to this arithmetic and logical unit will be temporary register, correct? Then it will be accumulator also. From that, the result will be stored here and the flag will be set. These interrupts and controls are for the input-output devices. So simple architecture of 8085. Don't have to mug up. If you remember this function and if you start putting the blocks, the architecture will be completed. So simple, na? That's great. So if you understand the function, the microprocessor is very, very easy. Let's move ahead and revise this. So three types of bus we have seen: address bus, data bus, and control bus. Registers are used to store the data. We can use these registers. Then there is arithmetic and logical unit. There is a flag which is used to indicate the status of a result. Whether it is zero, carry flag is set, zero flag is set, auxiliary carry flag is set or not. Program counter 16-bit, stack pointer 16-bit, increment, decrement again 16-bit, because what is incrementing and decrementing? A program counter. Program counter is of how many bits? 16 bits. And timing and control section. So this is the architecture of 8085. I have given all this in this note. Please go through it. Now, what is ALU? See, ALU is arithmetic logical unit. What it does, it makes or operates different operations based on temporary register data and accumulator data. The operations will be done in accumulator and the result will be given. Now, based on this result, the flags will be set. So flags is a register which is a 8-bit, and every bit will have a specific meaning. For example, if you say the flags in 8085 total, even if bits are 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, but how many bits are used out of 8? Only 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So as per the output of accumulator, or as per the output of ALU unit, accordingly flags are set, which will be used. You must have remembered in practicals, we have seen J and Z, jump with no zero. That is, if this flag is not zero, JC, jump with carry. If the carry flag is set, that is, this setting is depend on carry flag, parity, auxiliary carry, zero, and sign. So how many bits are there in flag register which are used by microprocessor? 5. Bits are 8, but how many bits are used as flag? 5 bits are used as a flag. Now, after considering and understanding all the architecture diagram of 8085, let's complete and conclude today's session as the part 1 of chapter 1 is evaluation of microprocessor. So as we have discussed that the speed or the size of microprocessor depends on the word size in bits. It gives how many bits can be accessed simultaneously on a database. So the first generation was discovered of microprocessor was discovered in 1971 by Intel. The size, the word size of that microprocessor is of 4 bits. It means that the data size was only 4 bits. That is what? Only 4 bits can be read or can be written simultaneously. So it is basically was used and discovered for calculator. Then evaluation took place. What do you mean by evaluation? The concept will remain same, only it will be enhanced with the speed. So how the speed will be increased? If you make more bits to be accessed simultaneously, the read cycle will be reduced and the speed will increase. So the second generation was discovered in 1974 by Intel, which is Intel's 8080, and its size was 8. So that processor was able to handle the enhanced version of the first. That is, here it was 4-bit, now it is 8-bit. It will move on. So in 1977, the 12-bit microprocessor was discovered. For third generation, 16-bit microprocessor was discovered. Fourth generation, 32-bit microprocessor was discovered. and fifth generation 64-bit microprocessor was discovered. This is the Intel series, Pentium 1, Pentium 2. So this nowadays, this Pentium 1, Pentium 2, 64-bit word size means 64 bits can be accessed simultaneously. This is how the evaluation of microprocessor is done. So friends, this concludes our today's session where we have covered most of the part of chapter 1. Now we will complete in another session the instruction types and the size of instruction, which will complete our first chapter. I am going to share this note on WhatsApp group. Please go through these notes and also go through this video of this session so that there will not be any issue. There will not be any query for you. Thank you.